So here at the SBDC, we know the right kind of business loan can accelerate business growth. And part of our job is to work with different lenders to design the perfect loan that's custom built to your needs. So part of our job is to help prepare that package and that application to get you the most attractive terms and conditions. Part of that comes from telling the right story. That story starts with the 5 C's of lending. Those 5 C's are credit, capacity, collateral, character, and conditions. Understanding the 5 C's and telling that story helps understand who you are, what your needs are, and how much risk is associated with the overall package. So credit's pretty simple. Most of us understand credit. It's how we pay our bills. It's how we pay our business expenses. So generally speaking, most loans will look at a credit score, although not all are credit driven. Some will look at a credit profile, some will dismiss credit altogether. Now credit, generally speaking, to get into the door of most lenders, it's around a 680 credit score that we need, but in some cases of 650 or even lower. The part of the story that is capacity is answered in 2 different ways. The first part is what the capacity is of the business to produce that product or service. And we have to make sure that that story is told clearly through the business plan and through the financials. But the other part of the capacity is understanding what the monthly cash flow is and can it handle this new debt that it's asking for. The other one is going to be a collateral. Collateral is what kind of an asset can I pledge as a guarantee that I'm going to be able to pay back this loan. The other one is going to be character. Character really says, who am I and why am I a good fit for this business? That's usually told through a resume. Conditions is the last one, and perhaps sometimes even the most important one, because our world is changing very quickly. So we have to understand what's going on in the business landscape around us, what's good and how are we taking advantage of it, and what's bad and what are we doing about it. So we need to make sure that we address that in the story that we're telling. Our first part is going to be a 1-page summary. It's a little rough draft about what we're asking for, and it should really answer 4 questions. How much money do you need? How will your business use the money? How will you repay the loan back? And what will you do if your business is unable to repay the loan? Now each of these questions is going to be answered in the documents that we know. So how do we start? The first step is to write a rough draft about your loan proposal, how much money we're asking for. The lender, or whoever the investor is going to ask a couple of questions, and these questions are going to be addressed in that document. The questions are going to be, how much money do you need? How will your business use the money? How will you repay me? And in case you're unable to pay it back, what are you going to do? Is there a pivot plan? So those 4 questions should be answered in the very rough draft that you'll work with your SBDC advisor or even your accountant or your attorney on getting your loan packages together. After we work out the questions on the loan proposal, now we actually start building the loan package itself. The loan package is going to be comprised of a few different documents. The first document is going to be a business plan. Although it's not always necessary, it's always a good exercise for a business owner to go through the steps that are required in creating a business plan. Very important, the business plan is not a sales pitch. A business plan is it's a methodical instruction manual on how the business is run, what's being done for operations, what's being done for marketing, who my client target audience is, and how I'm going to get them. The next part is going to be about the resume. Tell me about yourself. Why are you a good fit for this business? We can include a resume with a business plan to complete the package. A little bit more information now about the loan request. So this will be your opportunity to create an itemized list of items that we're going to spend the money on, and it makes the lender or the investor feel that much more comfortable that you thought through the ask and knows exactly where you're going to spend the money on. It's also a good idea at that point to reference links to all the different items that you guys might be buying, which can help come in handy at the underwriting process. The other one is going to be information about your loan repayment. This is going to be told through your financials. Your projections are going to include what the forecasted payment is going to be. This is where you work with your SBDC advisor to make sure that they understand the cost of the loan, the cost cycles of the loan, so that we incorporate it into your monthly cash flow. And that helps the underwriter feel a little bit more comfortable with lending you the money because everything is more thought through. Now we're also going to include information about the collateral. What asset are we using, if any, as guarantee for this loan? Important information to include about the collateral is as much information as possible. If it's an actual piece of equipment, year, make, and model. If it's a piece of real estate, the address, the last appraisal. All those things are pretty handy when it comes for the collateral component. Personal financial statements will always be needed. Very important. Make sure these personal financial statements are no older than 90 days. They usually won't be accepted if they're older. The more current that they are, the better the bank will feel. Business financials are also very important. Usually we look for three sets of documents. The first is going to be your cash flow statements. The next one is going to be your income statements, and then your balance statements. Make sure that all these are up to date to show the investor or lender an accurate picture of where you guys are today. Very important. Last 2 years of taxes, both personal and business tax returns, depending on the entity structure that you chose, it might be all included as an added schedule within your tax returns. Any equity investment that you've made into the business, we need to make sure that we have a track record of the dollars that were spent and what they were spent on. In the financials, the projections, very important, should only be for the next 12 months on a month-to-month basis. If we're going to go into year 2 and year 3, just an itemized version or a consolidated version, better said, for the following 2 years. Other items that might be included, it all depends on the type of loan that we're asking for, are leases if they're available, a franchise agreement if you guys are buying a franchise, a purchase agreement in general if you're buying any significant assets, such as equipment or a piece of real estate, articles of incorporation or articles of formation, depending on the entity that you guys are. If you guys have partners, information on the partnerships. Now, also very important note here, every lender and investor will have a different level of barometer of how much equity a partner will have before I ask information about that partner. Generally speaking, between 10 to 20%, all information that will be needed on that partner as well. Copies of business licenses, registrations, that they might need, if the business has any special licenses or registrations that is required in order for it to conduct business. And lastly, any contracts with third parties that might be important for your business. Almost forgot, if there are any affiliations that the business has, anybody else on the outside that can affect your business, this is a good opportunity to make sure that we disclose all of that. Hope this video was helpful, and we'll see you next time.